Today we are comparing the difference between starting Social Security benefits at age 62 versus waiting all the way till age 70. Which one is better? And we're going to compare and look at the numbers. You want to and need to understand the FRA. FRA stands for full retirement age, and it is the age in which you would receive your full benefit. It is the promised benefit. It's what Social Security considers your full benefit, okay? And so if we were to start Social Security before that, then you get a reduced benefit. If you would delay past that age, you get an increased benefit. So the full retirement age is based on your date of birth. And so if you take a look at this chart, if you were born in 1954 or earlier, your full retirement age is 66. If you were born in 1955, it's going to be 66 in 2 months, 1956, 66 in 4 months, and so on, all the way up till 1960. So if you're born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age will be 67, okay? Now, that's important, but also you want to understand what the PIA stands for. The PIA is the primary insurance amount. It is the dollar amount that you would get at your FRA. And so when you look at your statement, you want to know what your full retirement age is, and you want to know what the PIA is. That's the estimated full benefit or primary insurance amount, okay? Now, if we go ahead and claim early at age 62, because that's the first age of eligibility for Social Security retirement benefits, and we can claim any time in between there and age 70. If we delay past our full retirement age, we are going to be earning delayed retirement credits. So here's an example. Let's say we have an individual with a full retirement age of 67. They have a PIA of $2,000 per month. If they go ahead and claim at 62, that's going to be reduced to $1,400. And that represents a 30% reduction. Now, if they were to delay all the way till 70, it would be $2,480, which represents a 24% increase from the full benefit, okay? Now, as you look at these numbers do not include the cost of living adjustment. Now, cost of living adjustment is obviously going to vary year by year, but on average, since 1985, the COLA has been right around 3%. So we can anticipate that whenever we start our benefits, on average, they'll be increasing by about 3% each year. And so if we look at these numbers with the COLA included, you can see that they're quite a bit different. So at age 70, the benefit would actually be $3,235 in this example. And if you were to start benefits at age 62, after 8 years of receiving those benefits, by the time you get to age 70, the benefit would be $1,837. And so looking at this, year by year, this first column here is assuming that we start benefits at 62. It's reflecting the cost of living adjustment that's anticipated. And then let's compare that now with if we were to delay, okay? So we're going to have several years of zeros, right? Because we haven't started Social Security at all. But we're still getting the benefit of that 3% increase. Now let's fast forward to you're 70 years old. Had you started earlier, your monthly benefit is $1,837. Had you deferred and you kept working perhaps a little longer to where you didn't need to start the Social Security benefits, if you're able to do that, and then you start benefits at 70, it's $3,235. That's a significant difference. It's not quite double. It's actually 76% more income from that point forward, okay? But you had several years of benefits when you started early, right? And so when we look at how much did you receive in this example, the cumulative total is $186 $754,000 that would have been received, that had you waited, you did not receive, right? And so there's always going to be a break-even point depending on longevity and depending on how long you live. And so if we look at this break-even chart in this example, the break-even point is 79. So what that means is that at age 79, the person that started at 62 and the person that waited all the way till 70, by the time they're 79, they both have received the exact same total amount of money from Social Security. One over a longer period of time and one over a shorter period of time. But at that point, they had both received the same amount. And so now, if you live past 79, in this example, there is more money on the table for the one who deferred or started later, right? Because the payments are larger. And so if you look at the red line and you see it starts at age 62 and gradually goes up, and then you see the green line where it's just flat in between the years 62 and 70, and then the income starts at 70, but it goes up at a steeper climb, and then we reach that break-even point, okay? So let's compare this. So it really comes down to longevity and how long you're going to live. If you don't have a lot of longevity, if you were to die what we would consider early, which we'll say age 75, then it is better to claim early rather than to claim late. And as we look at the numbers, the person that claimed at 62 in this example and then died at age 75 would have received $200,000 to $71,000 in benefits. That same person, had they waited till age 70, they would have received $209,000, which is $62,000 short. But in 5 years, they almost caught up, not quite, right? It would take another 3 or 4 years before they would actually hit that break-even point. So, but what if you live a little longer? What if you live to age 85? Which for a healthy someone in their 60s, life expectancy is about age 85. And so in this example, the person that started at age 62, $564,000. The person that waited until 70, $725,000. So a pretty significant difference, $160,000 more money in this example. And then for those who have some extra longevity, my dad, my good friend Dave Kagi, and many others, the fastest growing segment of the U.S. population is people age 85 and over. And so there is a lot of people that fit into this category. And so if they defer, there will be more money available that they're entitled to through Social Security benefits. And so at age 95, had you claimed early at 62, the total payout at that point, $958,000. For the person who waited till age 70, $1,418,000. We're almost $500,000 difference in this example for delaying in total cumulative benefits, right? Now, I realize there's a whole lot of reasons why it might make sense to claim benefits early versus later. And a lot of times it's somewhere in between that's going to make the most sense. But it's a very personal decision and a lot of different factors that come into play in making a good decision. If you claim early and you're still working, then you have to deal with the earnings limit and the penalties associated with that. I'm not going to go into the details on this video, but I will put a link below to a video where we specifically talk about the earnings limit and how that works. And so you can check that out down below. Other factors that come into play is if you're married, and let's say you're married and the spouse did not qualify for their own benefit, they're still eligible for a dependent benefit or a spousal benefit. And so the spousal benefit, assuming their full retirement age or their FRA, they're both at 67 in this example, with a PIA of $2,000, the dependent or spousal benefit would be $1,000. So the married couple would be receiving $3,000 at full retirement age in this example. Now, but what if you have a married couple and you both worked and you both qualified for your own benefit? That changes the scenario as well. And there's other factors that come into play, not to mention taxation on Social Security benefits. And we have other videos that go into that as well. Now, if you were to go to the Social Security website, the ssa.gov, and they say that it's so easy to start your benefits that you can do it in 15 minutes, which is true. But you've worked for how many decades and paying into the system, and you're going to be working or retiring easily a couple of decades or more into the future, where you're going to be relying on Social Security. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot of money at stake. And so it's important to do good planning and to think it through all these different issues, because it will have an impact. If you don't have a Social Security statement, I would encourage you to get that. The best way to do that is to go to the ssa.gov website. If you don't have an account, you should create an account, because when you log in, you're going to be able to see your earnings history. It's important to check for accuracy. You want to know that Social Security has reported, got everything recorded properly. You also want to make sure that your employers over the years reported income properly, because it will make a difference on your benefit. They're going to be looking at your best 35 years. So every year that you are working is going to increase your benefit. It's going to bump off one of your lower earning years and replace it with a higher earning year. And so, and then of course you have to have at least 10 years of work history in order to be eligible for your own benefit. Now, when you look at this statement, Social Security statement, key things you want to look for is the PIA, the primary insurance amount, and your FRA, your full retirement age. Those are the two key numbers you need. And with those numbers, then a lot of analysis and projections can be created and planning can be done. If you are not aware, I have a financial planning firm, and let me introduce you to my team. We have a team of professionals, and we do holistic retirement income planning, and we have a very specific Social Security analysis and strategy report that is available for a very low one-time cost if you wanted to consider that. It is a comprehensive, customized report, and optionally, if you wanted to ask questions of a member of our staff, then that is option when you purchase that report. So for more information on that, you can just go to socialsecurity.lane.com. And I hope you found this beneficial. We do have more videos coming out here. We're going to talk real specifically about spousal benefits and the different issues that come into play there, whether you're divorced from a spousal benefit from a former spouse, also the survivor's benefit, and this very unique and specific rules around that. And so hope you'll subscribe if you haven't, and also set notifications, because the internet is a very big place and it's easy to get lost in all the videos. And so we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Financial Fast Lane.